Okay, good afternoon, everyone. How are we all doing? Excellent, good, good. And a very special good afternoon to everyone at HBF, who we're actually live streaming this to at the moment. So HBF, you guys are as much part of this ceremony as everyone else. And today is a really, really special day. Some of you, and most of you hopefully would have seen the video put out by John announcing the safety award that we have won, and today is about celebrating that award. So this is the culmination of months and years of hard work and consistency, just in terms of everything we do every day around health and safety. So from me to you, thank you for all of that effort. I'd like to now introduce John Stanton, our Chief Executive Officer, who we are very, very privileged to have with us today. John, over to you.
Thank you very much, Gavin. Oh, it's quite loud. Thank you. Well, it's absolutely great to be with you here today. I'm delighted that I could get down to for this celebration about safety. And you've even managed to put on a little shower of rain for me to make me feel as if it's in Scotland, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. A little bit warmer, maybe. I'll start and finish with safety, and in between, I want to talk a little bit about the business and how I see the world and where we're going. But as you all know, safety it always comes first at WEIR. It's the most important thing. It's our core value that we look after each other and we drive towards becoming a global zero harm organization. And we're making great progress, but we've still got a long way to go. But that zero harm target is absolutely what we must all remain focused on, because I believe that when you look at some of our businesses around the world and what they've achieved, it's not just a pie in the sky ambition. It's really possible that we can become a zero harm organization. And I, for one, am determined that we're going to get there. So I'll come back to the celebration and talk a little bit more about safety at the end. But I just wanted, now I've got you in the room here in Asando and down in Port Elizabeth as well. I'm going to make a few comments about the business, thinking about the group, about the minerals division, and then also about the Africa region. And I'm going to set you a challenge, because your brothers and sisters over in our road this morning didn't ask me any questions. And when I do these town halls, I love to get questions. I love to hear what you've got to say, what you're thinking. And, I'm not afraid. Answer me any question, whatever's on your mind, and I'll try and answer it. And if I can't answer it, I'll come back to you. But it's really, really important that, as part of our, listening and engagement with our employees, that we, we get to hear what you think. So please take the opportunity to ask me any questions and put your friends in our road in the shade, as it were. So let me just then, while you think about your questions, talk a little bit. So from a group perspective, you all know we're now around 15,000 employees, colleagues around the world. And 2018 was a massive year for the group, a huge transformation where we made our biggest ever acquisition to purchase a company called ESCO, which makes ground engaging tools, which now sits alongside the minerals division. And we sold our smallest division, flow control, which you concluded that WEIR wasn't the best owner of that business and that we should sell it and actually recycle the proceeds and the capital into our stronger businesses in mining and oil and gas. So now we become a very focused group, larger, but more focused on upstream mining and oil and gas. And we did that because the businesses that we have in those markets are our strongest businesses, and it's where we've got huge opportunity to continue to grow in the future. So I'm very excited about what we've now created, and I think for all of us, it creates lots of opportunity to build on it if I think about the mining equipment business we now have with ESCO, we're in the mine itself, involved with extraction and materials handling, and with minerals right through to concentration and tailings. So right across the mine site, we've now got products and solutions, and we're ambitious to build on that. So through the technologies that we're developing and the new products and solutions that we can build in-house, we want to do more for the customers who sit in that space. And at the same time, the board is ambitious in the future, if the right deals come along, that we buy more companies that bolt on to our mining equipment franchise. So we've got a lot of ambition, and you know, when we think about what the future could look like, the board, we want WEIR to be known as one of the truly global preeminent mining equipment franchises, and that's the ambition. So hopefully over the next few years, we'll continue to build that, and your support is, you know, is huge to all of that. So alongside the massive transformational year of 2018 in terms of the portfolio, I think we've also made great progress with taking the business forward. You know, we had a strong year of performance, which was great to see. And you know, our mission, which is really around how do we sustainably and efficiently help our customers deliver the resources and energy that are needed by a growing world, is very much the mantra. Our customers today, across all of our businesses, have major challenges. They need to be more sustainable. They need to use less energy, less water, reduce their footprint, reduce their emissions, do more for their communities, and do more to keep their own people safe. And as an innovative engineering company, we're part of the solution. So what we're trying to do more and more of, and I encourage everybody to do every day, is put yourselves in the shoes of your customers, think about what those challenges are and how can we help them to deliver on those challenges and perform themselves. Because if we do that, we'll become even more embedded with them, and they'll depend on us more. And ultimately, that's where we want to be. You know, a really crucial cog in the machine of our customers' operations, so that we have long-standing, trusted partnerships where they always pick, if they've got a problem, they always pick the phone up to WEIR. So we've got a great culture, we've got a great position in that space already. And why is that? Well, fundamentally, it's down to our people. All of you guys in this room, everybody in HBF down in Port Elizabeth, I feel that we have the best people across the industry. And for me, it's a bit of a cliche, but for any organization, its people are its most important asset. And that's why we do everything we can to protect and nurture our people, to help them develop and be empowered, to go out and make a difference. And, you know, stepping back to view WEIR as an organization, you know, which is the best organization to be part of, where you can be very successful. And the phrase I like to use is you do the best work of your life here at WEIR, because we're all so passionate about the organization. And because those things are so important, that's why we care so much about health and safety. It's why we care so much about learning and development and are investing in that. It's why we want to hear your views, because you know, everybody in this room, you understand some of the challenges and the opportunities, both internally and that we can help with our customers on, and we want to hear it. You know, and that's why we do things like the global survey, which I was delighted with, because around the world, 84% of our people participated in it. And those people wrote down 120,000 comments or observations. That's just amazing. For me, that tells me what a great culture we have, how people are passionate about the organization. They want to say what they think and feel that that can make a difference. So, you know, that's a huge part of the global listening strategy that we've adopted, and we're going to continue to do that. So all of those comments in the survey we're now working on, and as we redo the survey over the coming months of year, we'll be really looking to step up and see continuous improvement from where we are today. So that's been for me hugely exciting. And then the other thing that I think you all know we've got coming up with May to underpin all of that is a global employee share ownership plan, so that everybody who works for WEIR over time will have the opportunity to receive and build a shareholding in the company that will directly link your efforts, everything you do, right through to the share price and the value of the company, and hopefully over time allow you all to build a little bit of wealth through an investment in WEIR. And that's going to take the form of a first tranche of free shares, which will be awarded in this year, and we'll do the same again next year. And then after that, we're going to implement a matching program so that if you want to invest in some more shares in WEIR, then you'll have the opportunity to do that. And we'll put in place a matching program. We've still not worked out quite the details of that yet, but that's what we're going to do. So all of that, and our investors are the big investors who hold WEIR shares have said, that's fantastic, because we know then that you're aligning your employees with the broader shareholder group and the board in terms of trying to create more value over the long run. So I'm very excited about that, and the feedback has been terrific. So and as I step back and look from a group perspective, very excited about where the portfolio now sits and where we can take the business in the future. As I think about minerals, WEIR Minerals as a division, I want you to know what an amazing organization you work for. And I get that because when I go and meet our investors in places like London and New York, the guys who own hundreds of millions of pounds of shares in our company, they tell me that WEIR Minerals is just about the best capital goods industrial business that they know, because of the global footprint, the razor blade business model, the resilience through the cycle, all of the things, the technology, the people, the proximity to our customers. It's pretty unique. I don't think there's a business like it. So it's really important that we nurture it and we grow it and we continue to build barriers to entry and develop better people than the competition and serve our customers better than the competition through our service center network and so on. So it is a massively highly regarded business by the investment community, and the intention is that we're going to really continue to grow and build it. And as I look at the last couple of years under the leadership of Ricardo and the divisional team, we've done a terrific job on the front end of the business, getting closer to our customers, selling integrated solutions, working with them on some of the challenges that I talked about earlier. So we've made fantastic progress there, but there's lots more still to go for in terms of growth. And as a business, I think we do well operationally, but there's more that we can do. When I look at our performance in terms of quality and on-time delivery and inventory turns, all key metrics, they're actually not where they could be. So I think alongside the great business that we've got, the great front end of the business, there's more that we can do internally to become more profitable and even more successful. So that's a challenge that I think we've all got over the next few years to drive that improvement. But again, I'm very excited where Minerals now sits, and alongside ESCO, building out that broader mining equipment franchise is a big ambition over the next few years. And so that brings me to Africa, which within Minerals is one of the biggest business, a great business. I know that some of the markets that we serve can be more challenging than perhaps some of the other regions have. But the performance of the business over the last couple of years has been great. And like Minerals in the rest of the world, I think there's a massive growth opportunity available to us in this continent. So I think there's lots to do, and we're going to continue to invest. I think you will have seen here, down in Port Elizabeth, across the business, that we are investing in expansion. This is a really, really important piece of the global Minerals business. It's where we see a lot of future growth. It's where we're going to back ourselves to overcome the challenges. and we're going to continue to invest from where we are today. And even more than that, historically the business has really been about Africa for Africa, so most of what is made here goes into South Africa or the rest of Africa. And over time, this business is going to become more important as a global source of supply to the rest of the division. So we're already starting down in HBF and to a degree here to source parts for the minerals business globally, where we're going to try and consolidate more of that here over time, which will free up capacity in other parts, other regions of the minerals division. So you're going to see, not only is there growth coming, I think, in your sort of domestic markets, but as a big cog in the overall global minerals business, we're going to rely more and more on the Africa region. And so that also means, you know, the points I made earlier about quality and on-time delivery, because you're not just going to be supporting local customers, global customers, and they want high standards and consistency and high quality. So it's really important that, that we deliver that. But you know, I think an exciting future for the business from here. But just stepping back to say, I'm really delighted with the progress that you've made, and I'd like to thank you, every one of you, for all of your contributions and for what you've done to make this into a fantastic business and a business with such potential ahead of it. So I'm going to probably pause there after those comments, and I'm going to come back to the main agenda item of the day and the safety award. But I want to pause there and open it up to see if there are any questions from anybody that you'd like to ask myself or Gavin while you've got us here in front of you. This one here? Have we got a mic?
Good afternoon. My name is Bonani Ngoweni. I'm a fitter and turner in machine shop. My question, okay, I have two questions or three. The first question is, we had visitors last year and then in this year. And in those, okay, they came to check if they were investors in the executive. They were here, they visited our plant to check if they can invest more and bring more jobs in our plant, or is Africa. My question is, are those jobs still coming? And we also have Vision 2021, where we said we're hoping to have doubled the business by 2021. Now we are acquiring other businesses, like checking from 4 years back. In 2015, we bought Delta Industrial Valves, Trio in 2016, KOP in 2017, and then finally ESCO last year, where we sold the flow control division. My question is, as we buy this, or as you acquire these companies, since we're talking about safety issues, how is it, okay, I just want to know the challenges that we come across as a business. If you can check WEIR Minerals, when it comes to safety, our standard is too high. And then with other businesses, how do we cope with them? And then still keeping the business stable as it is, because the more you buy other companies, maybe somehow, maybe one of the divisions which would be lacking, but we still keep it like constant.
Yeah, okay. So I think the first question is quite easy, which is about, are we going to continue to invest and create new jobs? And I think the answer is that if the growth is there and we see the opportunities, then absolutely yes. As I said, this business is a core of the global minerals division, and it needs to grow to support the division globally by producing more here, and it needs to take advantage of the opportunities to grow throughout Africa and the Middle East. So, as those opportunities come through, then we're going to put the investment in and the costs that we need to support that. So that is absolutely the plan as we move forward. The question on acquisitions is a good one. If you think about ESCO, it's a great business, and we had, because of the nature of the way that we bought it, it was There was no other people involved. It was just a question of WEIR talking to ESCO and over time, coming together. So we had a lot of access to the business, so we knew that its culture and its values were very similar to WEIR, which was a massive factor in why we went ahead with such a big, and potentially quite risky acquisition. And if I reflect on other acquisitions we've done on the past, we probably didn't have that access and the ability to understand how similar the culture was. And I think my learning from ESCO is that that's so important, and we've seen it in the fact that the integration has been really successful. It's just come into WEIR, it's bedded in, all of the revenue and cost synergies, the value creation that we were looking to deliver has come through quicker than we thought. And that's just a large part because ESCO people are like WEIR people, and we've just got on with it. The one area where they are behind us is, on the status of some of their operations and their safety performance. It's not anywhere near where WEIR is today. They're probably 5 or 6 years back in the journey, if you think about where we've come from. So there's a huge amount of effort. We've put WEIR people, WEIR Minerals people, into ESCO to start to help them with that journey. We're actually going to invest quite a lot in their facilities to engineer out a lot of the hazards that they currently have today. And we're going to try and do what we did as WEIR in 5 or 6 years in hopefully a much shorter time with ESCO. But again, they've embraced it. And I think their employees coming into WEIR have seen how much we care about safety, and their health, and that we look after them. And I think that's been a huge positive for their employees coming into WEIR to see there's going to be investment, and we're going to do more to keep them safer than maybe was the case under when it was a privately held company. So a lot to do there, but I think the foundation is great because it's an excellent business. Thank you. Hi.
Hello, sir. Okay, so we've been running with the HSE campaign called the LSB, which has promoted a lot of interaction on the green area level. And my question to you is, will we be expecting another campaign with the same interaction level? And by when do you believe this will be implemented?
So, yeah, the life-saving behaviours was a massive theme for last year. The way that it has been adopted and rolled out globally, I've been really, really pleased with. And just sort of this morning, seeing how it's almost in this business taken to the next level down and really developed and expanded, I just think it's fantastic. So, well done. Yes, there is a campaign coming this year. It's on the wall behind you, and Gavin's going to talk a little bit about it shortly. So I have a CEO safety committee, which myself and the divisional presidents and Rosemary, Chief People Officer, sits on. So, we do, what we're trying to do is to keep the momentum up and sort of provide the strategic framework for the businesses to develop in. But we're also mindful that we don't want to overkill it, because if you have, a big campaign immediately on the top of another campaign, then it can be quite challenging for the business. So I think what you're doing with, you did life-saving behaviours in 2018, and then so there's going to be a monthly refresher on that, but then with a real focus on hands and fingers to support it. Any more questions?
Hi, Mr. Stanton. Coming back to the shares part, I remember on the previous meeting, our MD here, Mr. Kevin Dyer, promised us that we're going to get shares. So he said all of us who are permanent, 3 years plus, we're going to get shares for free. Those ones are free shares. So we also would like to know the ones that we can buy, when can we start buying? Because, yeah, there's money involved here, and some of us have it here. Yeah, please.
So, basically, the plan is that at the moment, as I said earlier, is to have, some free shares that are awarded this year, and then vest. I mean, you're going to have to stay with the company to for all of the vesting to take place. I'm sure you understand that. But then after that, we'll implement the matching program. I don't know actually whether we can pull forward the ability for you to use the portal to immediately buy extra shares, but I'll check up on that. And then there'll be a big Q&A available at the time that we launch the program in the middle of May. So we'll specifically answer that question alongside all the others that we are answering. Any more questions? Yeah, one here.
Hi, my name is Denise, and I work in the Trio division, which is pretty new to WEIR, the crushing industry. I see all your other products are doing quite well, and they're flying high. What I wanted to know was, what is your opinion or your vision for Trio as a new product in your company?
Yeah.
And where do you see us going? Because I don't know, as a company, I feel a little bit, we get a bit of negativity when it comes to Trio. It seems to be a huge white elephant in WEIR at the moment.
Okay.
So I just wanted to find out how you feel Trio is doing and where do you see it going?
Yeah. So thanks, Denise, for the question. And I would start by saying that Trio, we have not delivered as quickly as we wanted to do in terms of the acquisition integration of that business, and we along the way have met some sort of unexpected challenges that we've had to deal with. So I sense there's a bit of frustration, and I share it. But stepping back strategically, well, first of all, I think the shorter term issues that we've had in Trio around quality out of China and around supporting the global network and who's doing what where, I think we've now fixed those problems. So I feel that we're on a much more stable platform. So then it's where we go from there. And as I said earlier, when I think about, we've got two mining divisions now in Minerals and ESCO, but when you break it down, they're almost across three segments. So ESCO is in the pit, in extraction and materials handling, and then within Minerals, we've got dry processing, comminution, crushing, grinding, where Trio and the HPGRs and other technology sits. And then you've got wet processing, which is where all of the pumps and cyclones and the core, Warman businesses. So I look at it and say, well, in the wet processing space, we've got a number one brands, a great product portfolio. In the dry processing space, we've got Trio and a couple of other bits and pieces. And actually in the pit, ESCO it's a one product line business. Basically, it's just ground engaging tools, nothing else. And there, we have the opportunity to bring into the portfolio other consumables and tools that are used in the pit to sit alongside ESCO. And in the dry processing space, alongside Trio and HPGRs, we've also got the opportunity to broaden out the product range and to add to it. And we've had a long debate with Gavin's boss, Ricardo, about how do we really accelerate the strategy. And part of that has been to take Fred Bradner on the divisional team out of his sales and strategy role, and to say, okay, Fred, we need a global comminution strategy, and you're going to lead it. So having fixed the short-term problems, it's now about, okay, how strategically are we going to really accelerate the growth of this business and get the Trio acquisition alongside the other products and solutions that sit in that part of the portfolio up to where we want it to be global leading brands that have the same reputation as Warman and other product lines do. So that's the plan.
Can I just
Johnny.
add? Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I just add?
Denise, sorry, if I may just add to that before you jump into your second question. What we've done locally is JD and his team, as you're well aware, have really split out into a product sales and product support function. And if I look at the pipeline of opportunities that I see for Trio and Comminution, I've never seen anything like it since we actually took on the Trio brand. So really, you know, this is the year that those opportunities have actually started to convert into input and then ultimately into revenue. What we are doing in parallel with that is we're re-examining our own internal capacity to be able to deliver those projects. Right now, all the Trio equipment either comes out of China or is constructed in third-party facilities. Yeah. What we are looking at Alroad is how we can actually utilize our current facilities to tag onto that and be able to deliver those products as well. So, yeah, I mean, great question.
I just wanted to add that the crushing industry is a brilliant industry, and you won't lose in that industry. Crushing is, I've been in the crushing industry for over 10 years, and I just feel that it's an industry that can bring in a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that here at WEIR, we've had this little setback of the deliveries, which are now hitting us quite badly now at this stage, because of a lot of our clients have sort of lost faith in us in that way. And we're going to have to build on that delivery again. I'm just hoping that China, you're saying China has, you've spoken to them and you're hoping you've fixed those problems. Are you quite confident that their deliveries would improve?
Ricardo tells me that he's quite confident. Yeah, look, we put a lot of effort into, and actually, you know, in terms of the plant in China, we've said we've actually taken quite a lot away to say, actually, you just make these core crushers, focus on quality, repeatability, do it well, because Africa and everybody else around the world is depending on you.
Yes.
And that's the focus. I know there is a way to go to restore the trust.
Yes.
But I think the foundational work has been done to do that.
Thanks, Denise.
Okay, look, well, thank you very much for the questions. I really appreciate it. The main event of the day, of course, is the award to Minerals Africa of the Chief Executive's Safety Award for Best Business for 2018. So, fantastic news. And why is that? Well, I think, you know, you guys do an amazing job, and you're a great example for the rest of the WEIR group. I see a highly visible safety culture throughout the business, which is just outstanding, and a great example, as I say, to many of our other businesses. I think where we're trying to get to in WEIR is Zero Harm 3 in terms of behavioral safety and ownership. I think, again, is truly exemplified by this business, and you can see it and feel it. You know, the preparedness to look after each other, to stop work, to call out anything that you see is unsafe, is just, again, very evident. And there's such a passion as well, even though the business is now doing really well in safety performance. There is a passion to continuously improve and always do better and shoot for that target of zero harm. And you kind of see that in the, you know, the leading indicators around the amount of safety conversations that are being recorded, the hazard identification, the near-miss reporting, the volume of that, and that, in my mind, is the more we see of that, the better. And it's really exemplary in that business, which is outstanding. And I think behind all of that, you know, it's evident that you all really care for each other, you know, and each of you as colleagues are prepared to call out hazards and look after each other. And that's the goal, that's the standard that, you know, we set or try to achieve in every WEIR business, but I just think the level that you guys have achieved is absolutely outstanding, and that sort of is reflected in the lagging indicators in terms of the safety performance and how many people we hurt. We can never be complacent. It must always remain our #1 priority, because we have to look after each other. But compared to our peers, it becomes a competitive advantage, and people want to come work for us because they know of our reputation for safety, and our customers want to work with us because they know how seriously we take it and we align with their interests. So, I just think this, as I go back to what I said, this business is a great, great example for the rest of the WEIR group, and just shows us all what is really possible. And then go beyond that in terms of the health and wellness programs that the business has. Again, I think in certain parts of the world, we're still grappling with that a little bit. And again, this business is a great example of what can be done. So you're the winners, guys. Well done. And so, I think you grab that end. I grab that end.
There we go.
There's the flag. Okay, we're going to get a photo.
Thank you very much, John.
Well done. Well done, everybody.
Fantastic. No, that's mine. Yours. So, guys, it's an absolutely amazing feeling to be #1 in safety in what I think is the best business in the world. And that, for me, is an absolutely incredible achievement. So, well done, and thank you to every single one of you. So, we've now taken 1 minute to celebrate, and now we're going to get on to further continuous improvement. And I think that's absolutely critical. So safety is a journey, and the moment you stop on your journey to a better and safer and zero harm culture and organization, you actually don't stop, you go backwards. So that journey, we have to continue growing, we have to continue improving our performance. And that really brings me to the next topic in our journey to a safer organization, and that's our Hands and Finger campaign. So while at the moment we may have received an accolade, and that's an amazing achievement, we've also hurt a couple of people this year, and that's not an amazing achievement. And I think that we also need to take a moment to reflect on what led to those injuries and what parts of the body got injured. And for us, it was these. And we all know how important our hands and fingers are to just being able to function every day. So absolutely critical that we take a moment to reflect on our challenge. And that's around keeping our hands and fingers safe. So the statistic across WEIR is that 40% of all incidents involve your hands and fingers. But year to date, it's almost 100% for this business. So virtually all the injuries we've had have involved hands and fingers. And for us, we've got to make sure that we take these 10 fingers and these 2 hands back home in the same condition that we actually brought them to work. So let's take a moment just to focus on that. Watch where we put our hands and fingers. Every morning we do the safety dance, and we promise not only ourselves and our colleagues, but also our families that we're going to take these same instruments home in the same condition that we brought them to work. And if we have a look at the injury statistics across WEIR, And I'm going to run them down from number 1, which is cuts and lacerations. Number 2 is bruising. 3, crushing. 4, burns and scalds. And then 5, fractures. The number 1 cause of injuries to hands and fingers, or the number one injury, are cuts and lacerations. And guess what we've had this year? In the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 recordable injuries doing just about identical tasks. And we've had lacerations requiring stitches. So we confirm that that is actually the number 1 result of a hand and finger injury. The other injury was a bruise. So again, we confirm that we're actually true to the statistics of WEIR. And that's something that we've got to pay a lot more attention to. I'm going to walk through the injuries because I think it's absolutely critical that we take a moment to focus on them. So if we look at the very first injury, which was down at HBF, and that involved someone having a finger pinched in a core-making machine because the interlocking guarding door was malfunctioning. Now, you all know that we had an identical incident. Fortunately, no one injured at the back end of last week when we got a piece of swarf in that interlocking door. So, guys, absolutely critical. Last year, we had a stand down where we asked everyone to go out into the business and have a very careful look at every piece of equipment that has an interlocking mechanism. And we're going to continue to do that. But again, this employee put their hand into a machine beyond an interlocking door. And the result was an injury. Fortunately, nothing serious, but it could have been a lot worse. There's a lot of pressure in a core-making machine, as you guys are all aware, and we could have actually either lost a hand or lost a finger. The second one, also at HBF, was someone hitting a metal chisel with a hammer where they were unsighted and ended up catching themselves on the finger, causing a laceration. So again, we need to have a very careful look at where and how we use hammers and where we place our hands. Because if you're unsighted, firstly, you should never put your hands where you can't see them, and we'll go through that in the next slide. But secondly, using a hammer and a chisel when you're unsighted is just an accident waiting to happen. So again, we've got to look at every single activity in our business, and we've got to engineer out any instance where we place ourselves in danger. The last one was at Palabora. And at Palabora, we had an identical injury. So someone hitting a shaft to get an impeller off while his friend was holding it. Now, I trust a lot of people, but let me tell you, I'm not going to hold a shaft while someone else hits it with a hammer. I trust no one that much, and neither should you. So again, we shouldn't be engaging in that. And I know we have a little laugh about it now, but it shows us when we engage any task, let's apply our mind to it. Let's understand the risk, and then let's engineer out that risk. And if you're uncomfortable doing anything in these facilities, you know you have the right to actually refuse to do that until we fix the engineering around it. And that's a promise we all made, and we made that promise 2 years ago. So when we look at the lessons learned, number 1, stop, think, and act, okay? Let me think about the job that I have to do. Let me think about the potential consequences, the potential risks, how I can hurt myself, and then let's prevent that happening. The second one is to keep our hands in a safe place. Make sure that our hands do not put us in the line of fire. The third one is if we can't see it, we shouldn't be touching it. So again, when we relate that back to the HBF incident, okay, if I can't see it, I shouldn't be touching it. And if I can't see it, I shouldn't be holding a chisel and hitting it. So the next one is do not make contact with anything if it's moving. And in some instances, some of the equipment we use spins so fast, it's sometimes confusing as to whether it's moving or not. If you're unsure, don't touch it. Okay, make 100% sure that where you're putting your hands, you don't have any rotating equipment. The next one is report faulty equipment. So again, guys, we shouldn't be either making a plan or working with faulty equipment. Just don't use it. Just stop and let's replace it, or let's use different equipment. And the last one is the correct tool for the job. So don't make a plan. Don't try and force something, because that's when you actually end up getting injured. So if we remember these key lessons that come out of these injuries and we keep our hands safe, guys, that will eliminate the vast majority of our incidents and accidents. And that's something that every single one of us has to focus on going forward. So, what I'd like to do now is ask Lorraine to lead us in the safety dance, because the safety dance, as you're all well aware, pays special attention to these. So, thanks, Lorraine.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, can we stand up to do the safety dance? Okay, 3, 2, 1. All fingers to work.
All fingers to work.
All fingers to work.
All fingers to work.
All fingers back home.
All fingers back home.
I'll have a safe start.
Safe start.
Safe finish.
Safe finish.
Safe home.
Safe home.
Eyes on task.
Eyes on task.
Mind on task.
Mind on task.
Don't be in the line of fire.
Don't be in the line of fire.
Keep your balance.
Keep your balance.
Traction.
Be safe.
And grip. Safety comes first.
Safety comes first.
Golden rules of hands.
Golden rules of hands.
Hands should be kept in a safe position.
Hands should be kept in a safe position.
Always wear the correct glove.
Always wear the correct glove.
Never touch it if you can't see it.
Never touch it if you can't see it.
Do not make contact if it moves.
Do not make contact if it moves.
Safe surfaces.
Safe places.
Let's have a safe start, safe finish, safe home for everyone, every day. Thank you.
Thank you.